For the first time in 5 years, the Luther College softball team heading back to the NCAA Division III Softball Tournament, second place finish on the regular season and in the American Rivers Conference Tournament. Talking here with head coach Renae Hartl. And coach, I'd imagine these two are kind of coincide. What has made this a successful season? What has made this a special season for your team?
Oh, I think the people always make the season. Obviously the great performances and the clutch games that we come back and win in the seventh, put that season together, so that you've got the record to get an at-large bid like we did. But the people, the senior class, the incoming freshmen, and everybody along the journey as sophomores and juniors have really been the piece that put everything together to allow us to be here.
How do you get that group to mix in such a special way? Because I'd imagine that's one of the joys and the challenges of coaching, right?
Yeah, and I think that every team looked very different coming out of the pandemic, and I think that every team handled that differently, and I think the individuals within those programs handled that differently, and who worked really, really hard by themselves. And then what kinds of culture things were you able to maintain, and what things kind of went away because you weren't together and you had to reintroduce to the next group. And I think you're going to see that. I mean, you have been seeing that across the nation of who was able to do it and who struggled. And I think we were the ones, we were part of the side that struggled a little bit to maintain some culture things and to maintain the kind of things that are important to us in our softball program. But we're excited to be back.
And when you look at individual performances this year, Kendra Cooper coming back for her COVID year, had an outstanding season in the circle. What made things click? She's always performed very, very well for you, but seemingly she took it to another level this year.
She has taken it to another level. Her mental game, her physical work that she put in prior to this season was elevated. And I also think that you can go back and look at a lot of pitchers' careers, right, and see their development. Some of them splash, on as freshmen, and can they maintain that, or can they even improve from that? And Kendra's just been a body of work, right? And she's so excited about having arrived where she is right now. And I think that she still always has things that she wants to do. But I think that the things that have made her special this year are her leadership abilities, her ability to show her teammates that you need to work very, very hard. And I'm going to show you, and I'm going to work alongside of you to do that. And then just to have an optimistic attitude every day that we get to play this softball game. It's part of who we are, but it is not exactly who we are. I think she's really helped a lot of even the underclassmen understand that this is a fun game. We love it. We love that we get to be together at practice every day for 2 hours, and that's a good release for our student athletes to be able to run around and sweat together and have fun playing a game that has brought them to this college and has brought them to be a part of a unit. She's just really done an outstanding job of bringing that.
3 weeks ago Sunday, you guys go down to Co in a battle for the conference lead at that time, and things didn't go your way, but obviously things clicked after that, including a big doubleheader sweep down at Central. What caused the season to go in the right direction after that moment?
Yeah, I think that's always that's a good question, right? I'm glad that we went the direction that we did after getting swept at Co that day, but I also think that every team responds differently to something not going your way. And we did not play well that day. And I think that when you're at this level and you play in the conference that we do, which I do think is the best in the nation at this point with the number of bids that we got, like, you do have to play really well every single day. And if you don't, you will not be victorious at the end, right? And so it was really neat to see them respond to say, okay, this was a lump, right? We're unlikely to win the regular season now, but what can we do next, right? And they went after it, and they won a lot of games in a row at that point. Close games, really good games against really good opponents. Those Simpson games, those Dubuque games, those were big games. Yes, the Central doubleheader was big because they were rated 2, right? And they've got a historically rich, great, successful program, but to be honest, I look back at our turning point of the season was probably how well we played against Simpson and Dubuque.
And those close games that you mentioned, once seemingly you won a couple of those close games, it just kind of elevated your confidence that much more that, hey, no matter what the situation, we can get the job done. That's me looking from afar. Is that a fair thing to say?
Yeah, because I think that there's some teams that you feel like that I've coached over the years that needed to be in the lead. We needed to score first. We needed to do that to control our situation. And this has not been that team. And we were just joking even last weekend about, being nimble and going with the flow, whether it's a lightning delay or whether it's rain or whether our Dubuque games were scheduled 4 times. We've got to be able to go with the flow. And that could mean coming back and winning against Nebraska Westland in the 7th inning of both games. Right. And that this team knows they can do that if they stay in it and they keep perspective of how the game's gone so far and that they have a shot. And so I feel great about this team's ability to even go into the postseason to know that we can win a game in the 7th. And we know we can. We might not. And then how would we respond if that doesn't happen for us? Right. But I also think that we've got a lot of individuals who are going up there that are not, their goal is to pass the bat to the next person, but from being on base. Right. And not saying like, if I don't do it, my teammate will. I will do it, and then my teammate will also do it type of mindset. And so it's really been the senior class that has driven that peace of mind and that culture.
And this will be the first appearance for any of your players in an NCAA tournament. How do you go about just to get them to appreciate the moment, the opportunity that they have, and not get caught up in the moment?
We've talked a little, but we haven't talked a lot. And, I think even just in talking with Kendra, Kendra watched her sister pitch in Oklahoma City for us. And I think that really drove the wantingness to be back to the space. Right. And to see Courtney pitch and, on that Hall of Fame stadium field. And then to have her be there with her parents as a fan. But then to take her team back to the NCAA tournament, her super senior year, I think is just going to be amazing. But it also just keeps perspective for us all too, that we have earned this, and this is just a part of our journey. And that one game has never defined this team. And so whether that's the next game or the last game, it still won't define the year that they had together.
Give us the scouting report on the teams that are up at the Oshkosh Regional.
Well, what's interesting is, you are around for a while. And I was just talking to Alicia from Northwestern, who is our site rep, and you've been around for 22 years and I have never played there. I have never been to that field. And I have never played most of these teams. And so it's just kind of refreshing to see that. But also scary for me, right? And makes me excited about something very, very new and taking this team to a new experience, but it's also gonna be very new for me. And so obviously Oshkosh is very good. They were in Florida with us. We were unable to sit and actually watch them for a long period of time, but we caught them a little bit before and after our games. But 2 very good pitchers. And I don't know which one he'll throw against us because I think they're both very good. And so just looking at film on them a little bit, and they've got one really good hitter that we're going to kind of try to game plan around. But I think that at this level, they're all very good. Right? Everybody's got good pitching. Everybody's got good defense. And who's going to be that hot offense at this point of the game? And I think after you've coached as long as I have too, that those hot offensive moments have to happen in the NCAA regional. They have to happen then. And if they don't, your season will end. But you have to be able to hit great pitching, but you have to be able to usually score more than 1 run. And so I think that that's what we're going to have to do against teams like Oshkosh and against Concordia and even Superior. If we happen to play them down the road in the bracket, that we're going to have to score some runs, because I do believe that everybody's pitching and defense will be there.
And final question for you. You're in a league that got 4 into the NCAA tournament. I believe only the 2nd time in history that has happened in the Iowa/ARC. Does that give you confidence knowing the fact that you're battle tested heading into the NCAA?
I think it has and will show our girls that, we do play that high level ball the whole month of April, because you don't always get that, on your spring break and in your dome games. You are going to have some teams that aren't going to be at a high level. But I feel like we've been playing at a high level the entire month of April. And we've had to be there in terms of mindset, and we've had to face great pitching every day in our league. And so I do think we're battle tested, but I think it's just more our norm and what our expectations are versus thinking that we've been through it and back, right? Like, it's just exactly what we expect to do. And I expect that's what we'll see this weekend at the regional. It's just really great softball.
All right, Coach, congrats on getting back to the NCAA tournament, and hopefully you can make some noise starting this weekend in Oshkosh. We wish you best of luck.
Thank you, Darren.
Luther Coach Renae Hartl getting ready for the Oshkosh Regional this weekend.